Hello everybody, and thank you for visiting my channel and for taking an interest in my very first video. I'm going to start just by giving a brief description about what this channel is all about. So in short, my aim is to use my experience of working within the energy industry to advise consumers about how things work when it comes to dealing with their gas and electricity affairs. Now, I'm doing this because over the years, I have noticed that this information really isn't given out by companies and organizations that operate within the energy industry, and this can cause problems for consumers. So I'm hoping that I can help in some way by giving tips about how it all works. So, as you may already have seen, my first video is about smart meters. Recently, I've seen so much information given out about smart meters by media outlets, YouTubers, even energy companies, which can be misleading in some ways. Therefore, I would like to try and set the record straight on a number of things around this topic. So let's start with the most obvious question that people ask about smart meters, and that is, should I have a smart meter or not? My answer to this is that it doesn't really matter as much as you might think it does. The one thing that I've noticed when observing people's behaviours is that a lot of people get into too much of a flap around smart meters about whether they're a good thing or a bad thing. The reality is that a smart meter operates in the same way as a traditional meter, by merely monitoring how much energy a household uses. However, having said this, there are a few things that I would like to point out. In all, I would say there are three differences between a smart meter and a traditional meter, also known as a heritage meter, that are worth mentioning. And only one of these differences is a big difference that everyone should know about, and this is around forced mode changes. So, what is a mode change? This is when the meter is moved from credit mode, where the energy is used before it is paid for, to prepayment mode, where the energy is paid for by topping up the meter before using the energy. Up until recently, the energy companies were forced changing consumers who were in debt from credit mode to prepayment mode. The energy companies were choosing to go down this road as an alternative to cutting households off supply. Now, when it comes to being cut off, it appears a lot of people seem to think that this is against the law or against energy regulations. Although this isn't true, it is very rare for an energy company to cut off a household supply, although it maybe has happened on occasions. Please leave any examples of this in the comments if it's happened to you or someone that you know. It is something that I've never seen myself, and the only reason I can think for energy companies doing this is for safety reasons, as some individuals can tamper with the meter for their own financial gain, which isn't only fraudulent, but is also dangerous. Now, to go back to mode changes, it was happening all the time. However, it has been frowned upon within the media, and a number of energy companies have put a stop to it. Now, to come back to smart meters, this is a big difference that everyone should be aware of. As an alternative to applying for a forced entry warrant from the courts, the energy company will carry out the mode change remotely and with little notice should the bills end up being in debt. As with smart meters, they can be changed from credit to prepayment mode or vice versa remotely. They can be done automatically, not like when it was the older traditional or heritage meters, where if you did want to do a mode change, you would need a brand new meter. That's not the case when it comes to smart meters. So effectively, there's one upside and one downside to this when it comes to how it affects consumers. The upside is that there will be no warrant visits to the consumer's property, meaning no forced entry and no warrant fees added onto the energy bills. The downside is that the mode change from credit to prepayment will happen quickly and with little notice. I've actually seen this happen with 24 hours notice, as little as 24 hours. So I'll leave it up to everyone watching this video to decide for themselves what they think of this. My aim here is to merely point out the facts so consumers are aware of what can happen. It's also important to point out that although a lot of energy companies have put a stop to force mode changes for now, this can change at any time. So having went over the only big difference between smart meters and heritage meters, I would now like to address the other two differences, which, though may not be as important, it is still worth mentioning. So these are, if the smart meter is communicating, then the reads will be sent across to the energy company automatically. And smart meters will come with a handheld device known as an in-home display screen, or IHD for short. Now, this brings me nicely onto explaining the difference between a communicating smart meter and a non-communicating smart meter. A lot of people seem to think that the handheld device is the smart meter. It isn't. The handheld device is the IHD, whereas the smart meter on the wall is the meter itself. This confusion makes consumers think that if the IHD isn't working, then the smart meter isn't working. This isn't the case. If the IHD isn't communicating, then it's a case of treating the smart meter in the same way as you would treat a traditional meter and take your readings as normal from the meter itself and pass it across to your energy company. So now we have covered the differences, let's talk about the cost. Is it cheaper to have a smart meter or not? This is going to be the longest point for me to answer. Okay, right. So the simplest answer to this is that it depends on the tariffs that are available at that point in time. As having a smart meter may give a larger option of tariffs to the consumer. When it comes to tariffs, the unit prices that a consumer pays depends on the unit costs of that actual tariff, and all tariffs will give the same rates regardless of what meter the household has. Now, I have never seen an individual tariff given two separate rate prices, one for having a smart meter and one for not. But if anyone has seen an example of this, then please let us know in the comments. So, having said this, some energy companies may have tariffs that are for smart meter consumers only, and these tariffs might be cheaper than all the other tariffs that that energy company has available. So, with this being the case, then we need to ask, why do energy companies tell us that smart meters are cheaper? Well, whether if the energy companies are doing things correctly or not, it all depends on the wording that they are using. It's important to bear in mind that the mindset that these energy companies are playing on is that consumers will use less energy because they can monitor how much they are using more easily through the information given on their in-home display screen. Now, although it is correct that usage can be monitored better, this doesn't necessarily mean that consumers will use less energy, as some energy consumers may prefer not to cut back on their usage. As well, I mean, some people are just really into electricity. Some people are just really into gas. I mean, some people want to cut back because it's going to save them money. Some people don't want to do that. It really just depends on the preferences of the individuals within that household. This fact also applies when it comes to the question around how smart meters affect the environment. I mean, if people are using the same amount of energy because they're happy with that, it's not actually going to kind of be better for the environment. But if they choose to lower their usage, then it will be better for the environment. Now, say for example that a household does use less energy as a result of being able to monitor their usage better. It's important that we remember that the bills are not cheaper because the energy company have made the unit prices lower. They're cheaper because a household is getting less energy. It's because they're using less. So to sum this up, if an energy company says that a smart meter is cheaper because usage can be monitored more easily, then this would be incorrect wording, as the lower bills are nothing to do with the type of meter. They are to do with the amount of energy being used. If an energy company says that having a smart meter may be cheaper, then this would be fine, as there may be a time at some point that the cheapest tariff available may be for smart meter households only. If it is the case that an energy company is saying that a smart meter will definitely be cheaper as an alternative to just saying might be cheaper, then it should only really be saying this if they know for a fact that their cheapest tariff is for smart meter households only. If the cheapest tariff is for any meter, then an energy company should not be saying that smart meters are cheaper if they're doing things correctly. Finally, I want to talk about the legalities around all this. So another question that people have about smart meters is it legal? Do I need to have a smart meter? So the simple answer to this is no. There is no legal requirement to have a smart meter. However, when I was working within the energy industry, it's important that I point out that we were told that from around 2020 onwards, it has only been smart meters that have been manufactured. This means that if anyone needs a new meter for whatever reason, then it will be a smart meter that they will get. Now, with traditional meters, there will only be second-hand traditional meters kept in storage. And these second-hand traditional meters will most likely go to households that don't have a smart meter connection but need a new meter. Therefore, if anybody asks for a new traditional meter, they will be told that there is a very lengthy waiting list for one to become available, which will more likely be would be years rather than months. So if it's a choice that you want a new traditional meter rather than a new smart meter, all the energy company would be able to do for you is to put you on a waiting list for one of the old removed second-hand traditional meters to become available, and it's a very, very lengthy waiting list. Now, I do have doubts if this information is correct around smart meters only being manufactured. However, this is the information that I was given when I worked within the energy industry. So a little tip for everyone is try and stay on your current meter for as long as you can. Now, the reason that I'm giving this tip, it's nothing to do with whether if smart meters are better or if traditional meters are better. The reason that I'm giving this tip is because the older that meters get, the slower that they become. Now, because of this, a lot of consumers seem to think that smart meters are making their bills more expensive. And although this is kind of true, the best way to kind of word this is that what smart meters are actually doing is they're making the bills correct, as it is running at the correct speed. Now, I mean, of course, it's impossible to stay with your current meter forever. But if you are able to stick with your current meter for as long as you can, then I would recommend this purely for this reason, as it would, I mean, it's working out more financially in the consumer's favour. So, I hope all this information helps, folks. I will upload another video about another energy related matter onto this channel shortly. In the meantime, feel free to chat away in the comments, but please keep it friendly, as I know these YouTube comments can get heated from time to time. If you can like and subscribe, then that would be most appreciated, as it doesn't only help me out, but it also helps get this information to other viewers who may benefit from this information. So until the next time, folks, I really hope this information has helped you in one way or the other. And yeah, thanks very much for watching.